I started playing video games in the late 80s on a Commodore 64. There are only a handful of titles that I've logged hours running into the triple digits over the course of my button-mashing career. I love data points, but unfortunately I don't have a solid number for obvious titles for someone in my age bracket. Pre-Steam, I logged thousands of combined hours across games like Sonic the Hedgehog, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Super Smash Bros., and Minecraft. But these days, when I sort by time played, sitting quite comfortably at the top of the pile is a little game by a Swedish indie developer called Coffee Stain Studios. At the time of this writing, I've logged over 500 hours in Satisfactory. So many games are good for 5 to 10 hours of fun. Once the main campaign or story is over, it's on to the next game. How does a game about crash landing on an alien planet and covering it with power lines and conveyor belts so effectively captivate my attention? By orders of magnitude greater when compared to the average game. This is no small feat. At its heart, Satisfactory is an immersive experience of expansion. Each gameplay loop builds upon the last in a satisfying progression towards an unknown goal. The journey toward it will take you across a handcrafted map of various biomes, littered with nodes you can tap into for resources. Materials can be processed into more complex and advanced forms or used for power. Electricity, logistics, and transportation can be deployed into grids as complex as you'd like to achieve your goals. When you've constructed enough prerequisite materials, you'll feed them into the project hub, and later into a towering elevator reaching into space, which will unlock more advanced technologies that allow you to progress further. The game sports a solid set of controls with a tight feel. Slide and jump mechanics feel like they're straight out of a competitive first-person shooter. Precision build controls allow for total creative freedom when constructing your factories. And where they intuitively fall short, fans have discovered creative workarounds, such as how to build clean curves out of square foundations. You can't imagine how excited I was when they added the snap-to-grid feature for foundations. Now my factory floor on one side of the map can match one in a completely different area, allowing me to join them together cleanly. You start the game with manual handcrafting, but as soon as possible, you'll want to move into the realm of automation. Miners can harvest ore for you, while smelters melt it into bars. Constructors mold it into rods, plates, and screws. Assemblers and manufacturers can combine these elements into more advanced configurations. You'll begin with a limited collection of resources in your inventory, but before long you'll have to fend for yourself. The power grid must expand. Biomass will not be sufficient for long. Coal, geothermal, biofuel, and more will be required to satisfy your factory's ever-increasing capacity. The beast must be fed. There is a visceral feedback when building. The visual and audio design in this game draws you in. There is crisp detail around every corner. Each machine brims with character, and each biome in the world map has its own unique qualities. There's a forest biome that serves as sort of a newbie area, but it is vast, and if you're like me, you may not venture far from here for many hours of gameplay. There's still some areas of the map that I haven't explored after years of playing this game, but it's a beautiful game. Every corner of it makes you want to explore just a bit further, if it weren't for the important attendance to the operations of your factory keeping you thoroughly occupied. Satisfactory has been in early access since 2020, and they've only just recently begun to tease the fabled 1.0 update in the past year or so. The developers have been very kind to the existing player base, warning us in advance of changes to the terrain that may adversely affect our existing factories. Just recently, the devs put out a video talking about some 1.0 changes to the distribution of ore nodes on the map. Great care has been put into the balance of the game, and it will be interesting to see how these changes will affect early game progression. Another interesting change is the biomass burners. The early game power source will now be able to be fed biomass with a conveyor belt. The manual insertion of fuel in the early game can be quite a chore. This is an interesting quality of life change that could also impact the early game in some interesting ways. Not much is known about the story of Satisfactory, which will be added in 1.0. There's a bit of scattered lore in the game. The opening planetfall sequence is accompanied by some videos about the Fix-It Corporation. In early access, the information revealed by the in-game narrator Ada mostly relates to explaining a bit to the player about different technologies as they are unlocked. There are some mysterious ores, objects, and creatures whose usefulness or purpose has, for the most part, not yet been implemented. Hopefully much will be explained when 1.0 drops and the story is added to the game. This game is a perfect fit for me. I've spent a huge amount of time playing modded Minecraft. Anyone who's a fan of automation, factories, crafting, and open world games ought to give this a try. I look with great admiration upon the players who've been able to stick with one save file for the duration of the early access period. I've restarted my game countless times, never quite reaching the end of the tech tree. I'd like to believe that with each reset I have a better idea of the map, the gameplay progression, and new ideas to try. But after spending some time away from the game, I frequently gravitate back to the familiarity and comfort of the early game. Those initial tedious steps of building my first factory, those first few miners, smelters, constructors, biomass burners, and assemblers, then progressing on to unlocking coal power. And that's just the early game. If you're looking to get started with Satisfactory, there's lots of tips and tricks across the web to help you out. I found that using sites like the Interactive Map and Production Planner on Satisfactory Calculator, as well as the calculator on Satisfactory Tools, to be a great resource. As builds get more complex, it's great to have a visual representation of your factory outside the game to get a better overview of your work. But if I could give you one tip, it would be to explore the map. Recovering hard drives from crash landings to unlock alternate recipes and get some free early game materials is a great move. Satisfactory no doubt draws some inspiration from games like Factorio, and as a modded Minecraft player, I felt right at home jumping in. It's also already influenced other games. I could be wrong, but it's hard to pick up a game like Tectonica and not wonder how much the developers played Satisfactory. Early access has been a great place for Coffee Stain to solidify the core gameplay loop and features of Satisfactory before unleashing 1.0 upon us later this year. I know some gamers are reluctant to buy a game still in early access, but if you'll make one exception, I hope it will be this. A game about crash landing on an alien planet and sorting out conveyor belt logistics might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I adore games that allow me to immerse myself in a world of my own creation and familiarize myself with the fruits of my own gameplay, watching the game world evolve around me more and more as I play, easily putting hundreds and potentially thousands of hours into one save file. When it comes to Satisfactory, the atmosphere and creative possibilities on offer here are, in the space of PC gaming, almost certainly unmatched. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you're not already a Satisfactory player, I hope you check out the game on Steam or just check out more YouTube videos about it. Hopefully I'll remember to leave some links in the description to Satisfactory Calculator and Satisfactory Tools. Definitely give those a look if you start playing. If you want to click the like button on this video or subscribe to my channel to show your support, I'd really appreciate that. Click around here for some of my other videos if you want, or let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.